Hello, my dear sisters in Artemis. I hope that you're well. I'm really wondering how your Artemis journey is going, so please do let me know in the comments. You know that this group works best if we can comment on each other's posts and when you share your journey. So I know life is busy, but if you can give a like to say that you read this post, give a cheer. It's not a like here, it's on Facebook, so you can give a cheer, or just, a quick few words just to let me know how things are going in your Artemis journey. I would appreciate that, especially that is going to help me as I navigate this, guiding you through this journey. The more that you share what you do, the more that intuitively you receive what you need for this journey. So I do please encourage you to share where you're at, where you're going. And remember, there's no behind in this group. You have access to this for as long as you need to. So don't feel ashamed. Don't feel like you're falling behind. Don't feel frustrated. You come as you are. You take the time you need, and that is beautiful. But please just let me know with a quick comment. Let me know where you're at. All right. So all that to say, those emotions, feeling behind, feeling ashamed, feeling awkward, feeling frustrated, all of those emotions, that is the frequency of water. Water symbolically is the realm of emotions. So some of us are like oceans. We can have really, really deep emotions. We can go dive really, really deep into the why things are the way they are. And then there are some other emotions, some other people who are more like surface, more like, a puddle of water rather than a deep ocean, right? And it's all good. But just remember that when we have a Reiki quest, not a Reiki, but a water quest, that is that we are connecting with the deep emotions that is within us. Just as our emotions are like water, I want you to imagine for a moment, like when you look at the water, when I look at the St. Lawrence River right outside my window here, the water is not the same all the time, right? Sometimes it's flat and shiny. Sometimes, like yesterday, I went canoeing and there were all kinds of waves and you can't always see the bottom. And just think of the ocean. Sometimes it's nice and calm, and sometimes it's a stormy sea where you can't go out and it's very dangerous for boats because you can have like 30 feet waves. It's the same for you. You don't have to be the same all the time. I hear that from so many women. They want to take a spiritual journey. They want to take Reiki. They want to take a goddess journey because they want their emotions to be calm, to be the same all the time. And I just want to remind you that this is an impossible goal. It's an impossible goal. So sorry if this is busting your bubble, but it's an impossible goal for you to be calm, cool, collected all the time. That is not the way you are meant to experience life. You are meant to experience life in all of the myriad ways that water can show up for you in your life. Calm or stormy, it's all good. There's no judgment. So stop judging yourself for having those high days and those low days. It's all part of who you are. It's part of the human nature. When you think that you need to be the same all the time, you're removing yourself from nature, from your true nature, from being who you are. I know also from living with anxiety, living with people who have attention deficit disorder, living with people who have depression, having experienced those for myself, when we have too many highs and too many lows and it's too successive like that, it's very draining on our energy system. And we can't live life fully because we're always in the storm or always like down deep and then up high, and it makes life very difficult. So yes, we want to kind of even that out a little bit. So we don't want to have the big highs and the big lows all the time. But at the same time, we can't be flat all the time, unless that's really how you want to experience life, just being flat and not having any emotions. And then are you really participating in life? And are you really living your human potential as, connecting with the goddesses if you're not allowing your emotions, right? So just think of that. So that is one thing to journal this week with a water quest is, what are the judgments that you're holding against yourself from having emotions? What emotions are you judging as good? And what emotions are you judging as bad or evil? And as you dive into that, who said that certain emotions are good and certain emotions are bad? Where does that come from in our society? Just notice without judgment, right? Because the way that we are socialized often teaches us how to accept and how to be with our emotions. So just journal on that so that you get that deep understanding of yourself, of where you're at with your emotions. If you celebrate your emotions, if you accept your emotions, or if you're denying yourself the scope of your emotions because of what? Right? That's only for you to know. Is it fear? Is it judgment? Is it fear that someone is not going to like you anymore? Is it fear of rejection? Is it because you want to be that good person, you want to be perceived a certain way, and you think that if you have a certain emotions that you're not a good person? Right? It happens a lot, especially for spiritual people. So we have to be love and light all the time. And I'm sure if you've seen me for a long time, you know that being love and light all the time is spiritual bypass. It is a myth and it is not something to strive for. Especially when we work with the goddess, we do have those ups and downs. And so that is like part one of your water quest for this week, is to really journal on to how you perceive having emotions, how you see yourself as being an emotional person. And if there's anything, any trauma in your childhood, in your upbringing, and your socialization that says you should not have emotions, just be very clear about that. Be clear about that programming and be clear if you want to keep that programming or not. It's up to you. We're not into this just to eradicate everything out of you. Maybe that you came to a certain belief because that's what works best for you, and that's okay, right? But be very conscious about it so that you know where it comes from. Part two of this water quest is connecting with Artemis. And if you read through Artemis' story again, so we've had quite a few calls already on Artemis, or you can Google Artemis' story. You know that she also has those highs and those lows. There were times where she felt totally angry and that she felt very vengeful. That's kind of a lower energy, but it's a strong energy. So maybe you want to connect with Artemis and see in your life, where are you feeling vengeful? Where do you feel that you need to go hunt someone down because they did you wrong? And again, without judging, but just see it in your life. Where is that aspect of Artemis showing up? And then Artemis also has some other times in her life where she's very light, and where she wants to just play and dance and be happy without a care in the forest. So you might want to ask yourself, where are those times in your life where you feel free, where you feel like you can just dance, where you can just feel like you can be yourself and just have fun? And just notice those areas in your life. And now, third part, and that is a part of Artemis' story that I'm inviting you to relate to. It's those stories where Artemis went to the lake when she went swimming, and she went swimming, of course, totally naked. Bathing suits did not exist in ancient Greek times, right? So Artemis is completely naked. She is swimming in the lake. And so she's in her vulnerable state because she is naked. And then someone sees that nakedness, and then she wants to protect herself, and that's when she feels vengeful, and she wants to change the guy into a stag or into a dog or into something that's going to be killed. We won't go into that second part of the story, but it's just into that that allowing to be vulnerable and to allow yourself to be naked. So the water quest is considering all of your emotions. Can you peel away the layers and come to the truth of why you're feeling the way that you're feeling? Right? So by that, I mean, let's say that you're feeling angry. Don't stop at just, oh, I'm so angry today, but ask, why? Why am I feeling angry? Is it a boundary that's been crossed? Is it that I have a goal that I haven't claimed for myself? Or is it that I have a goal that I've claimed for myself and I don't have a strategy, or I haven't put forth the effort or the action to take it? So keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into the water of that emotion until you get to the bottom of it. And you'll be surprised what comes up for you. Here's one thing that came up for me. I've been feeling at times I get really, really annoyed with my husband. It happens to all of us, right? But I get really, really annoyed with my husband. And then sometimes I can have some very negative thoughts, like arrows that I'm just flinging at him, like, you didn't pick up your socks today, and he's so this and he's so that. And I can get all worked up with those feelings of, oh my God, he sucks, right? So then I ask myself, so I catch myself in those moments, and then I ask myself, why am I feeling so worked up right now? Is it really because the socks aren't being picked up? Is it really because he failed to do this thing or that thing? Is it really because of that? And then I just keep asking the questions and peeling the layers away. And then I see myself in my vulnerable state and in my truth. And you know what I found out working with Artemis for the past 2, 3 weeks? The truth is, the correlation is the more of those thoughts that I have, the negative thoughts, those arrows that I just want to, stab him with, it's because I'm tired. It's because I haven't taken care of myself. I have refused to go to bed at a reasonable time. I have not slept enough. I have not eaten enough. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in my work, I forget to eat. Sometimes I forget to exercise. And so it's really basic physical things. And the more I'm tired, the more negative thoughts I have. And that's my truth. And so what do I do with that then? When I have those thoughts that, oh, I haven't slept enough. So then I have a different strategy where I say, I'm just going to go relax for a bit. So instead of flinging the arrows to him, I go and rest. I take care of myself. I take ownership for how I feel. I take ownership for my thoughts. And I do something that is positive instead of stewing in that energy of the arrows and the vengefulness of Artemis. Does that make sense? I hope this is helpful for you. So this is your quest for this week. When you feel those emotions, whether they are the highs, whether they are the lows, go deep, ask questions. Why is it? What is happening? What are their correlations? Go deep into that water, go into that nakedness of who you are, go into that truth, into that vulnerability, and then find the reason why. And you might be surprised at what you see. It might be as simple as you haven't slept enough, or it might be simple, or it might be something more complicated like a childhood trauma that you need to perhaps receive some counseling for. But when you know the truth and the crux of the situation, then you know what to do with it. And that's why you need to examine, the bottom of the ocean, is because once you know the core reason, then you can have an action that is going to help you heal. Does that make sense? So that's our water quest for this week. Again, let me know how that goes for you. And now I'm going to go and have my dinner and rest and come back to you refreshed next week for the fire quest. All right. Big, big love from my heart to yours. Bye for now.